This is the Paranormal Report.
Yes, it is. It is the Paranormal Report. I am Jim.
I am Dar. What's going on? What's new? What's exciting?
Not much. Hey, Cleveland baseball's new.
I guess so.
They were 15 and a half games back in August, and as we sit here recording today on September 24th, they are in first place in the AL Central. How about that?
See, when you don't pay attention? No.
See what happens when you give up? Maybe the fact that I've given up on the Browns, maybe there's hope. They had a big win this week.
I highly doubt it. Oh,
I'm
was
skeptical.
Not a big win. Don't even get me started.
I'm skeptical.
They had luck. They had 8 chances from the penalties to get into the end zone, and they only ended up with a field goal, and they only won because of mistakes and referees' calls. So
there you go. Well, I'll tell you something that wasn't a mistake this week. You have been working your tail off on these new stickers, and you got them put up very favorably priced at our merch store, jimharold.com/merch. Show folks them.
So they're
quick.
decals. They're waterproof. They're vinyl. So you could put them on water bottles, laptops, wherever. More. So that's the large 4x4. But then we have our traditional smaller one. Is it focusing? There it goes. Stay spooky. We have the new logo for a campfire.
Yeah.
We have the traditional I love to listen to ghost stories. Mm-hmm. And we have our 70s retro disco Stay Spooky.
Yeah.
And I like the cute little ghost. Yeah. That's what I like. So there you go.
And that's very cool. That's very cool. I'll pop up the merch store and show it to people. And what I like here is here is the actual full assortment. And what I like is you can buy them one or you can buy a 6-pack. And what the 6-pack is what, $19.99? Is that right?
Yeah.
So it's very economical. We did something different for the stickers so we could offer them at a better price for you. So we hope that you check it out.
Well, I didn't like the fact that they were charging just as much for the sticker to ship it. Right. So that's why we're doing it this way, because it's free shipping. I can control the shipping, which, there was no reason why a sticker should be, or a decal should be shipped for $4.95, which, come on. So and we also got a new hat up, but I don't think it's on there yet. So
somewhere there is a new hat. There's a new hat. We can quickly look it up if you want to. Let's see. So we can show it to people and we'll get right to the story.
There it is, yeah.
There it is, yeah. And this is an embroidered hat.
Embroidered hat, yep.
Yeah, there you go. It keeps showing
7 different colors, so there you go.
There you go.
We have one coming, Jim. One's coming for you. You wanted it in navy, so.
Yes. I thought that'd be something different. Yeah. So jimharold.com/merch, jimharold.com/merch. And your purchases help support our little enterprise here. So thank you.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you to those who have already purchased the stickers and everything. Thank you.
Absolutely. So the reason that you come to us is because we talk about paranormal stuff. So we'll get right to it here.
That's right.
This was a really interesting thing I first saw on Twitter, and then you found a story kind of encapsulating it. There was this clip on Twitter, and I don't know who this was. It was following Congressman Tim Burchett.
It's Jim.
X. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Whatever.
On X, and they were Burchett was walking somewhere, and they were asking him about UFOs and everything. And what he said almost made it sound like he knows something. And I'm going to give you just And this nice recap is from unexplained-mysteries.com. And here's what Burchett said. What if these entities that are here on this earth, that have been on this earth for who knows how long, and we think they're coming from way out, maybe they did a millennia ago, but they're here and they're in these deep water areas. Like we say, we know more about the face of the moon than we know what's going on there. Talking about the ocean, we have a higher propensity of sightings around these 5 or 6, I believe. That's interesting, very specific, right? Deep water areas, it creates a question there. And then when we have naval personnel telling me we have these sightings, these underwater craft they're chasing that go hundreds of miles an hour, and the best we've got is something that does maybe a little under 40 miles an hour. So I've got a lot of questions about this stuff. So, I mean, to me, this says, obviously, he's been told stuff and probably a lot more than he just let on there.
Well, don't they have skiffs? So if you listen to the hearing,
Right.
any of
Right.
the hearings, they'll say, "I'll discuss this with you
That
in
in
a
a
skiff."
skiff. Yes, yes.
Yeah. So there's behind the door meetings going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And all these trans-medium sightings, basically a craft that can easily maneuver in the air or underwater and go from one to the other effortlessly. It makes a lot of sense that whatever's going on is hiding in plain sight in our oceans, because oceans are vast. We don't really, as the congressman said, we really don't understand what's going on at the great depths that are involved. So keep your eyes to the water. And again, this is one of those things that says, hey, they know something. And I think he's trying to piece it out a little bit at a time. Interesting stuff. But you have something.
I thought it was interesting. Yeah. Well, this is really interesting. John Greenwald and his site, he's got
the Black Vault.
It's called theblackvault.com, right? He has a story out this week. It says the Pentagon denies existence of Yankee Blue memo reported by the Wall Street Journal. Mm-hmm. So he did a FOIA, a Freedom of Information Act. And he said their response to that is raising a lot of questions about that Wall Street Journal article, the one that was titled, the Pentagon disinformation that fueled Americans' UFO mythology. So It's all just in your head, right? So he said he tried to do a FOIA to get the information. And because so let's go back. The Wall Street Journal said the Pentagon ordered an immediate halt to a practice in which military officers misled subordinates into believing they were working on reverse engineering extraterrestrial technology. So he pressed the Pentagon from using FOIA to get the document, and they said there's no such memo. It does not exist.
Yeah.
There's no so-called Yankee Blue program, thorough searches of the electronic records and files of CMD. No records of the kind you described could be identified.
Right,
and
but here's my point.
He shows a letter from it. Yeah.
Here's my point. I think what they do is what our former president, Bill Clinton, once said. You can be truthful but not particularly helpful. Mm-hmm. In other words, maybe within the scope of the request, the specific way it was asked in a very lawyer-like way, maybe it is not in that database, but maybe it's in another database. But you asked about this database. So it's like a shell game, right? And there's probably, 150 different databases or more. So it's like, it's easy. Maybe it could be in one database when it starts, and then they move it to another database. It's like security by obscurity. So that's my question, is that, was there any response that this memo is not in any database? You see what I'm saying? You see how they could play games? Stay spooky, by the way, everybody.
Okay. Well, I like this quote from him. He says, the Wall Street Journal story has been frequently cited by skeptics as a definitive account explaining longstanding rumors of U.S. programs tied to recovered non-human technology. But with the Pentagon's FOIA responses turning up empty, the reliability of that reporting is now under scrutiny. Either the FOIA system is omitting responsive material through error or concealment, just like you were talking about, or the memo and briefings described in the article never existed, or at the very least, never existed in the way they were reported. So he's got an appeal out, and it's pending because he's not going to give up on this, which I appreciate. And he even posted the letter that they gave him. And it was just, like you said, I think even FOIA is a shell game, right? Anything you really ask for, you're not really getting all the information.
Well, they get some stuff. They might be caught with their pants down, so to speak. But I think that they're very, they're very cognizant of this and becoming more cognizant of it. So they use the bureaucracy. And the truth is, I think sometimes people are asked about things that they legitimately don't know about. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying this case, but there might be, somebody might be asked, well, is there such a program? And they will truthfully answer, no, there is no such program, because they don't know about it. Because
that's true.
The government is huge and things are siloed and there are black budgets. We assume that the government is a Yes, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. Intentionally so. And it's compartmentalized in such a way that, and this is by design, that you could get somebody, the head of AARO or whoever it is, and say, sir or ma'am, do you know that this program exists? No, absolutely not. Well, they're being truthful because as far as they know, it doesn't. So I think it's just a huge shell game. Or they just shred the
documents too. I mean, think about the last hearing. I forgot the first panelist's name. He was a military officer. Remember, he saw it in his backyard, whatever. He tried to get the records from the police reports that night. And they said, we shred those every so many years. They're all shredded. They're gone. So he has no documentation. So they could shred anything at any time. They could do whatever they want. We'll never know. So,
well,
I just sound like such a big conspiracy theorist, and I'm really not. I just don't. I don't have a lot of trust in a lot of things. That's all.
Right.
I just don't.
Well, I think when it comes to the UFO subject,
so.
Well, I think when it comes to the UFO subject, I don't think everything is a deep, dark conspiracy. But I think when it comes to the UFO subject, it is reasonable to not believe everything we've been told because it's kind of been proven we've been lied to. So I think that, someone who is discerning might lean towards the conspiratorial when it deals with the UFO subject. Now, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. I don't think under every circumstance there's some deep, dark conspiracy. I do not believe that. Some people may say I'm gullible, then I'm gullible. But I do believe sometimes conspiratorial thinking is justifiable in some instances. And this is one of those instances.
I think so. I agree.
So, well, archaeologists have found something very interesting in northern Kuwait, and they're buzzing with excitement according to dailygalaxy.com. They have found a small striking figurine. It has been buried for thousands of years, and it has these strange elongated head. This challenges what is known by ancient cultures. It's about 7,000 years old, and it bears an uncanny resemblance to modern depictions of aliens. And this was detailed in a study by the Polish Center of Mediterranean Archaeology at the University of Warsaw. And it really is striking here. It's very interesting, and it does look like the depiction of aliens. It has a flat nose and elongated skull. And they say they are reminiscent of extraterrestrial depictions, and its style is also consistent with artistic traditions found in ancient Mesopotamia. And it's the first time something like this has been found in that Kuwaiti area, though. It's at the Bara 1 site. And and they've actually got a figurine here with elongated head. It looks like a mother feeding a baby. And she has this weird elongated head. Now, they do say that one kind of alternate explanation is in some of these cultures, head binding and making the skull grow elongated was kind of a status symbol if you had an elongated skull. But my question is, why? Why would you be considered more than because you have the elongated skull? Are you trying to emulate something or someone? I don't know. But again, it's one of those things like the work of, for example, Eric von Däniken that makes you think when you see these strange creatures showing up in artwork in totally different cultures, and they look the same. There's this one that was recently on X, and it was this and it was two totally different cultures separated by thousands of years, and it kind of reminded me a lot of the Egyptian kind of King Tutankhamun depictions and things, but it was turned to profile, and it had its hand up, and it had a little object in it. And there was like a similar object depicted in another picture from thousands of years before or after. I'm not sure which, but a couple thousand years away. And it was in a totally different part of the world. Now, what the hell is that? So to me, I mean, I know that when it comes to Von Däniken, people say, oh, this ancient alien, this ancient astronaut stuff, it's disrespectful to different cultures. It's, saying that these cultures weren't brilliant and weren't smart. I think our ancient cultures were brilliant and smart. And I think, in fact, in many cases, they uncovered secrets that we still haven't figured out. You think about the building of the pyramids. Somebody knew how to do something we literally do not know how to do today. So they were brilliant. But that doesn't mean that there wasn't an X factor, that maybe there wasn't an interloper, that there wasn't some kind of visitors from somewhere. And you hear it in, referred to in multiple cultures, including Native American and indigenous cultures. So things like this really make you go, And I remember years ago when I was in college in the 90s, and we did a thing about the southern mounds of Ohio, which was a great experience. But I talked to the director of the Department of Archaeology at this college that I went to. And I said, well, what do you think about, in that time, this was before Ancient Aliens, I said, what do you think about Von Däniken and the ancient astronaut stuff? And he looked at me like I did something in his soup. Excuse me. Yeah. So, these things really do make you think. So there you
go. You know what else makes you think?
Yeah.
Meditation and being mindful, right?
It's such a good thing.
Well, is it a good thing? So sciencealert.com just had an article saying that meditation and mindfulness has a dark side we don't talk about. Now, I would have never thought this, so that kind of piqued. I guess it was kind of clickbaity in that respect.
I didn't read the article, admittedly, but when I heard it, I'm like, ooh, I wonder what this is about, because we've done a lot of stuff on this.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't meditate per se, you know what I mean? Like, I guess there's specific ways to do that. I mean, I pray and I do, try to be more mindful and kind of just come into the moment, that kind of thing. I don't do anything formal or, formally, but, people said it's like the perfect tonic for stress and mental health issues. So that's why they do it. Well, actually, it can actually cause symptoms of depression and anxiety after meditating. So people don't even know this, especially if you have like a history of mental health issues. It says, many episodes of psychosis, disassociation, depersonalization, when people feel like the world's unreal. So they've been doing a lot of research about this in the last 8 years. And, adverse effects are not that rare. They thought they were rare. It's not. So they did a study in 2022 with not quite 1,000 people in the U.S. that meditated regularly, and over 10% of them had adverse effects. And it lasted over a month, which is kind of scary if you think about these delusional and psychotic symptoms. I think you want to do meditation and be mindful to stop all of that stuff, right? But in some people, it's causing it. And they've known about this for a long time. In 1976, Arnold Lazarus, a key figure in cognitive behavioral science, said meditation, when used indiscriminately, could induce, quote, serious psychiatric problems such as depression, agitation, and even schizophrenic decompensation. Yikes. So I guess what this article is really trying to say is that we need more research, and that people that are doing meditation, or there's coaches that are leading this, they need to be more transparent to the people that they're providing instruction to, and let them know about these serious effects that can occur, right? Because there's like such an enthusiasm for, mindfulness right now, and it can change everything, and it can change the world and bring peace, It can, but it can also be very detrimental. It's kind of scary.
But let me play devil's advocate, if I may.
Okay.
Anything, almost anything can be bad for you. Carrots are good for you, right?
No, they're grown underground. They have pesticides.
But that too. But
even organic.
If you eat too many carrots, can't you literally turn orange? Isn't that true?
I don't know. Isn't that like an old wives' tale?
I don't know.
You got to look that up. I don't think that's true.
What?
How many carrots would you have to eat, Jim? Oh my God.
What's up, Doc?
Oh my God. Now I have to look it up. Oh my God.
Yeah. Ask your buddy. I
don't ask the buddy. I look things up and I read articles that are appropriate. I am not you. Uh-huh. You ask your buddy.
I'm going to ask.
Oh my God.
Turn orange.
They said, yes, it is possible to turn orange.
Told you. And it has
large
a name.
quantities. You have to eat more than
more than
10 carrots a day. I mean, those baby carrots, you could just rip through those.
Well, I figure that's full size. I'm guessing. What's up, Doc?
For an extended period, I guess. I don't know. It's temporary. It's called carotenoemia.
Is you can almost point to anything and say, if misused or whatever, or if you have sensitivities. I don't know. I'm a little...
You're skeptical on this
because that means that 90% of people, it's fine and it's probably good.
Right.
I mean, I'm not prescribing any...
I think what the article is really just trying to say is that be aware of this when you're going into it. If you have a certain predisposition or whatever, they just want people to be more aware that adverse effects can occur because everybody's in this mindset.
Well, what I'm wondering
mindfulness is the best.
Maybe it's a
case. The best.
Maybe it's a case if you have ongoing mental health issues. Maybe you need to be more careful. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist, not prescribing anything. But I'm just wondering, would it make sense to be a little more careful if you have known issues?
Well, they said, okay, a lot of instructors in mindfulness and meditation say these practices only do good and they don't do any harm. And people that have suffered like these effects have gone to the teachers and the teachers don't believe them. So I think what the article is trying to call for is let's just be aware, like
the sensitivity
anything.
To it.
The day I walked into my neurology class, I tell this story to you all the time, Jim. I walked in, my professor said, I want you all to know that like two things. The first thing is any medicine, anything you take has a side effect, right? Because it is changing something in your system,
the chemistry of your body, yeah.
Anything, Tylenol, anything. And let's not go to Tylenol. Sorry about that.
Yeah, let's not bad reference this week, but go ahead.
Sorry, but that's what he used. So that's why, something as innocuous as Tylenol can have a side effect in your body. Every medication has an effect because that's the point, right? The other thing we don't need to talk about either. It's too depressing. It's about aneurysms. But anyway, he came in and said that.
Well, no, you can't do that. Basically, he said everybody was walking around with aneurysms.
Yes, because what is an aneurysm? It's just a weakening of a blood vessel. Okay. It could be in your brain. It could be anywhere. It's just a weakening. It doesn't mean it's going to burst. It doesn't,
Right.
But everyone has weakening as you get older. I mean, even when you don't get older, it just doesn't. Yeah. So, but he said that. So that was great. But I respected him. He was tremendous. So I think that's what this is saying too. Don't think it's just all good. Like it's all sweetness and light.
Well,
you have to be aware that there are effects from this as well.
Maybe it's like a disclaimer or something, because I know when you go watch a movie or play a video game and there's flashing scenes now, they'll say, if you suffer from epilepsy or something, be aware that this has strobe effects and those kind of things. And when we were growing up, there was nothing like that. So,
no. We were rolling around in the backseat of station wagons doing somersaults.
I think it can be a little much with the warning about this, no warning about that. But I will say, something like that is a good thing. So maybe that is something that these coaches and so forth need to
Well, that's what I just think. Just to be aware. Be aware. That's all. And then you make a decision, an informed decision for your own self, right?
Well, maybe in a parallel universe, they have such a warning.
Oh.
Because maybe there are paranormal parallel universes, universes, because scientists, according to dailymail.co.uk, and if it's in the Daily Mail, it has to be true. Scientists think we may have received a signal from a parallel universe via a wormhole.
Ooh.
2019, gravitational wave detectors on Earth picked up a signal that left scientists baffled. It was the signal called GW190521. And they say maybe, just maybe, it arrived from a parallel universe. This is a print paper. It was a study led by Dr. Qi Lai of the University of Chinese Academy of Sciences argues that GW190521 could be the echo of a wormhole collapsing. And interesting stuff. So basically, they give a couple of different explanations, and Dr. Lai says that a wormhole in another universe is also a plausible explanation. The wormhole represents such an object connecting either two separate universes or two distant regions in a singular universe through a throat.
Huh.
And if the merger of the two black holes produced a short-lived wormhole like this, we might be able to hear a brief snippet of the chirp echoing into our own universe. So, I mean, this is way beyond my knowledge base. I don't quite understand it.
Well, a lot of people love this stuff.
But what I do understand is scientists are saying there's some, I was going to say something else. I'm like, I can't curse. There's some weird stuff going on.
You could, but we'd have to bleep you out.
Yeah,
but go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I did last week.
You did.
I almost did the same thing. I almost said the same thing.
Oh, no.
But there's some weird stuff
it's
going on.
It's a big shift.
Yes. There's some weird shift going on.
There you go.
And science is really starting to, give more and more credence to this weird shift. So, really, it just all gets to the point that I don't know the specifics, but I could tell you, and I've been saying it for 20 years, this world is a lot stranger than we understand. And people who think that we've got it all nailed down, they're out of order. They're out of order. This whole court's out of order.
There you go. Okay.
I can't do Pacino. I wish I could do Pacino. Man, Bill Hader. I just got to say, Bill Hader, the best.
He is the best.
The Charlie Brown skit. If anybody's ever seen the Charlie Brown
skit.
You
must watch the SNL.
You're a rat blank, Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown. Oh, my gosh.
Look it up if you've never seen it.
Everybody in that skit is tremendous. What's her name? Cecily Strong is Fran Drescher.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Like, they're just all perfect. Perfect.
And Martin Short is Larry David. Pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, must watch. So look that up. You must watch that. It's excellent. But I was going to say, didn't we discuss like wormholes and that kind of stuff in that physics class we had together?
Yeah, science and religion.
And I didn't understand it then.
Well, the funny thing is,
very little of it. It's complex.
The weird thing is, and the reason I'm looking away is I'm looking up a story, a tab closed. But anyway. The point is that a lot of that stuff from that class has resurfaced.
I know. Isn't that kind of weird?
Was it neutrinos? Neutrinos came up and our Professor Clyde, he studied neutrinos in the salt mines under Lake Erie. Because they provided tremendous environmental isolations. I always just made the joke, I don't like neutrinos on my pizza. But anyway, the point being that it's so funny that we got together because of those themes, and now we're doing a show discussing those themes.
Yeah,
it's all
talk about full circle.
Full circle, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, very weird. Yeah.
Weird, wild stuff.
Had such a crush on you, you silly boy. You did not even know.
I did not know. I thought you liked me like, hey, he's a good guy. I like him.
So we had a group project, and I gave Christmas cards or holiday cards to everybody in the group, but I gave him a separate one, a different style. And in it basically says, I like you.
Well, yeah, I like you. You're a good guy. That's the way I took it.
And then you called me after and to find out about grades. And I got so excited. And I told my mom, I'm like, the guy I like called me. And then he never called me again.
Yeah.
I can remember this long ago. I was sitting in my parents' dining room and they had like
the spindles.
The spindles, you guys know, it's very 70s. So they had a hole in the wall from the kitchen to the dining room, and they had like these spindles, these decorative spindles put up. And the phone, mind you guys, it's only a landline phone. We only had like two in the house. The one was in the kitchen, but we had a long cord, so you could bring it through the spindles. And I remember sitting on the floor in the dining room, on the carpet, like laying down, whatever, and talking to Jim. And then I was so excited. And I specifically still have that memory.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then I didn't call again.
And then
but actually, I think it worked
years.
out. To be honest with you, I think it worked out for the best. I think it was 3. Well, it was 4 years. Yeah, close to 4 years.
4.
But the point is that it wouldn't have worked out at that time. It worked out the way it was supposed to work out. But
I believe that.
Yeah. But the thing is that it is just very ironic that we're still talking about the same stuff today in quite a different context. Very interesting stuff. And the fact that you picked that class and I picked that class, totally meant to be.
Well, because we got closed out of other classes.
Yeah, and because
had either of us gotten into flying circus of physics, we wouldn't have needed that class.
I dropped flying
You
circus.
dropped it. I couldn't get in. I kept getting closed out.
Yeah.
Because I wanted the specific professor and you couldn't get him. He was.
Yeah. Well, that was the guy that I wanted for that class. There was this guy that did these crazy physics stunts, walking on
a bed of nails. Yeah.
He was actually on Johnny Carson one time doing his tricks. And it was all science-based. And I got in a class with a guy who didn't do all that fun stuff, but it was just as hard. And it's like, why am I going to do this to myself?
Yeah, wasn't it like a 100 level course?
I'll tell you, I think I went to 2 lectures and it's like, this is dumb. I'm not doing all this. That communications major, you got to be kidding me. No way.
That's right. There you go. Well,
all right, let's get back. Let's get back. The
Sorry, guys, you got a little behind the scenes there.
What do you call it? Memory lane.
Yes. So this next story is coming from unexplained-mysteries.com. A woman filmed a mysterious creature in Kalamalka Lake in Canada.
Huh.
Yeah. And so if you go to the site, I'll have it in the show notes. You can see the footage. It is very, very interesting. Something's moving across the water. She was walking on the trail and she spotted something in the lake. And this is in British Columbia, Canada, for those of you that aren't familiar. And she didn't know what happened. She said she just kind of realized like something's out there. And so she got her camera and it went for about 42 seconds and then it just disappeared. And it's a black shape moving across the lake and you could see it. It's pretty long. It's kind of weird, right? They said there have been sightings in Kalamalka Lake, but it's not nearly as well known for its monster legend as the Okanagan Lake, who's the home to Ogopogo. So, you can look and you guys can decide what you think it is. I don't know what it is. It is something. I'm not saying it's like a Loch Ness type thing, but it is long. It's black and you could see it just kind of going in and out of the water. And you could see like 3 lines. So you know that it's really long. So parts of it are out of water and other parts are under submerged. So very, very interesting. So
yeah,
check that out.
I'll tell you, I of all the cryptids, I am more in line with water monsters than anything else because, as we discussed later, especially when you're talking about oceans, the oceans are so deep we don't know what's down there, and many times it could be. And it doesn't have to be something supernatural, right? It could just be an extinguished creature. And then all the time you read these stories about people finding species that shouldn't be where they're at. They find saltwater animals in fresh water. You find things that should only be in the oceans, in the lakes, because everything, most of these things, not all of them, but most of these things connect in one way or the other and something kind of slips through that shouldn't. Or somebody puts something in the water that is not, native to that particular body of water. So the point is that it's hard to tell what's underneath the water. We can't see it, right? Of course, you can see it with probes and different things. But the point is that I am a big believer in, quote, water monsters.
I would have to agree. Because as we said, we just don't know what's under the depths of all these bodies of water. We have no idea. We're just scratching the surface. So it'll be cool to see what comes up going forward. Even beyond my lifetime, what they'll discover.
Speaking of up, apparently, according to Gizmodo.com, an asteroid could smash into the moon in 2032. And the people who are mentioned in this article say instead of deflecting it, we always talk about when an asteroid's coming towards Earth or something, and if you thought it was on a crash course, you would use a nuclear weapon or something to knock it off its trajectory. They said that we should basically nuke it and destroy it. Yeah.
Wow.
Now, asteroid 2024 YR4 currently has a 4% chance of smashing into the moon in about 7 years. So they're taking a look. Astronomers are looking and saying, okay, what do we do about this if we do anything? And they're concerned because a lunar impact could eject an enormous amount of micrometeoroid debris into low Earth orbit, potentially endangering spacecraft and astronauts aboard the International Space Station. So in this article, they're theorizing don't deflect it. Because, but what I don't understand in this story, they said here that they should not deflect it, but detonation is typically not a preferred strategy in this kind of situation because you could take one large predictable threat and turn it into numerous smaller unpredictable ones if you make it many bits, So
so why do they want this to be destroyed?
Well, they're saying for deflection to work, it has to be done perfectly. And if it's done incorrectly, it could actually spin it into Earth.
Great.
So let me ask
wonderful.
you this. Have they heard of the Hippocratic Oath? First, do no harm. It looks like to me that if they deflect it or detonate it, both of them could have huge unintended consequences.
The lesser of two evils, though, maybe. That's
but
what
maybe
they're looking
the
at.
third option is to do nothing because it only has a 4% chance of hitting. And to me, now, again, maybe I don't understand this appropriately, but they're worried about it having impact on the International Space Station. And
my question
there's got to be more than that because if it's
is there
just
impact to us here?
Well, that's the point. They're saying astronomers have found evidence to suggest that a lunar impact could eject an enormous amount of micrometeoroid debris into low Earth orbit, potentially endangering spacecraft and astronauts aboard the ISS. So to me, there has to be more of a threat than that. If they're thinking of blowing something up, is there a bigger threat that they're not mentioning? Because, I mean, sure, you don't want the ISS to go down, but isn't it kind of getting to the end of its life anyway? And if they knew this thing was coming, couldn't they just get the astronauts off of it? If that's the sole reason. I don't believe that's the sole reason. Maybe it's satellites. Maybe they're afraid of it destroying our satellites. Maybe they're afraid of something else. So something doesn't add up to here just because of some ISS astronauts. Because obviously, if you have warning something's coming, you get them off of the spacecraft.
Right.
And then the worst thing
that's going to happen. And if it destroys it, at least nobody lost their life.
Right.
You could rebuild.
Right.
You can.
Right. But bigger and better. Yeah. So something doesn't jibe here with me.
They're not saying a lot, right? There's not a lot of information.
I would basically say if it's only a 4% chance, there's 100% chance if you hit it that something could go wrong. I mean, not necessarily it would, but I don't know.
Well, isn't it also kind of scary if they're going to nuke it? We're going to put nuclear.
Yeah. And they might say, "Oh, it's in space; it won't have any effects." But so did.
How do you know?
But so did the scientists in the 50s when they were detonating atomic bombs in the Nevada desert. They said it would have no effects.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
And ask the crew of the movie The Conqueror if it had any negative effects. Not familiar with it? Look it up. The Conqueror and atomic bomb test. Look it up. Pretty striking what seems to have happened to those folks that were part of that movie cast and crew. So, I think sometimes it's better to just leave things alone. Now, if they had confirmation, hey, this is going to hit Earth, we need to do something, that's a little different. I don't know. I think they're afraid of something. Maybe it would knock the moon off of its orbit. Maybe something like that.
That's what I was thinking.
That's why I'm wondering.
That's what I was
thinking.
Why
are you so concerned about for the eye? Yeah, and they don't want to say because they'll freak people out. Now, that would have huge consequences. But of course,
there's something I think underlying that they're not. So they're just feeding you a little bit of information, but they don't want to tell you the whole story.
Right.
And maybe they don't even know the whole story. Maybe they don't really know what all the effects would be.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know, but they must know something if that's what they're trying to plan for. There you go.
Oh, okay, here we go. Next up.
Yes. Well, it's interesting because a lot of paranormal information is coming out in mainstream media. And this next story is from Newsweek, which you don't usually, they usually poo-poo things. We all know we're just a bunch of idiots for believing things. But the title of this one is "My Sister Was on Her Deathbed. She asked me to call a psychic." So, I mean, imagine, Newsweek is publishing this article. And actually, the author, Jessica Fine, she's talking about her sister is dying from stage 4 lung cancer. I think it was, due to breast cancer. Regardless, extremely sad. And, her sister was in ICU and she was like just dying. And she'd been with her sister for 5 days, just sitting at her side and trying to be with her. And she was very sedated, obviously, because she was in horrible pain. She was playing music for her and, just sadly sitting there watching her sister go. And her sister opened her eyes and, she took her hand and she said, "Jess, call TJ." And TJ was her sister's nickname for the medium they had contacted after their father dropped dead after a dinner party shortly after his 80th birthday. And, she's like, "I haven't heard this guy's name in years," but, she said, "I had to contact him. I had to contact him." She wanted him to be contacted. So she had to figure out how to get in touch with this medium, the psychic. And, I guess the psychic had told them a lot of stuff previously about their father and stuff. And, she just thought, if this is what Rachel wants, I am going to call him. So she figured it out and she got him on the phone. And, he just said, he told her, "Let your sister know she's surrounded by so many people. She should know she's not alone. Your mother's at the foot of her bed watching over her, and your sister's really, really scared, and they want her to know they're right there with her. Your mother is holding on to the bedspread. She's there to protect her."
Wow.
So she was freaked out. She was clinging to every word. She runs back to Rachel to give the message. And, the music was off. There were 2 nurses, a doctor was in there, and they could see by their face that this was pretty much the end. So she slipped through all of them and she went into her sister's ear and she said, "I spoke to TJ. He wants you to know Mom is here. She's right at the foot of the bed watching over you." Her sister looked up at her. This is so sad. And squeezed her hand. And that was the last time she squeezed her hand. She died a couple days later after that. But she needed that, and she needed that comfort. And I think that's what people need to realize, whether it's a psychic, whether, whoever it is, if it's somebody that can bring you comfort and can, bring you some peace and give you some information, whether it's true, not true, whatever, that's up to the person who's asking for it, to determine. But if that is what brings that person comfort, by all means, why not? And so I'm kind of happy that Newsweek, printed this article. I don't know. It was just kind of refreshing to see that.
Yeah,
So.
I gotta tell you, I think this kind of communication is a real thing. I've heard it so many times on the campfire. We had that story reminded me a little bit about a story when someone was at the bedside of their mother, and this is one of our very early supporters. I haven't heard from her. Her name was Steph, and haven't heard from her for years. I hope she's okay. But she was a big fan of the show, and she told a story where she was present at her mother's death at the bedside, and she actually saw her mother's soul lift out of her body, was convinced that she saw it at the time of death. Yeah.
Wow.
And
wow.
These things happen. These things happen. I mean,
I think everyone's got story. Yeah, I was just going to say, like, I wasn't in the room, but when my uncle was dying, my cousins, my aunt were in the room with him, and he like kind of sat up in bed and he looked up and he started calling his mom's name, my grandma, who had just passed a couple months before. And not just the fact that he was calling her name, he was calling it in Italian, which, you know, he never called her name, and he didn't call her mom or anything. He called her by her name in Italian, and he like looked up as if she was there. And my cousins and my aunt immediately believed that my grandma was in the room there. Yeah. And, you know, unfortunately, my uncle did pass shortly after that. So
we had another campfire story where somebody's grandfather was in the hospital, and they thought it was innocuous, like, oh, grandpa's having one of his medical episodes. He's going to be home. And everything's going to be fine. And they went to visit him, and he was talking about, oh, this young girl came today and visited with me, and she was so nice, and blah, 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 and da, da, da. And we talked, and they asked the nurse to say, there's nobody to visit him today. And then they went home, and within a day or two, he was gone. And it was like they speculated it was somebody from the other side visiting him, maybe. And it was an unexpected passing. It was and then I think about some of the famous deathbed cases. Thomas Edison, when he died, he said, it's very beautiful over there. Steve Jobs, who was, I think, pretty much, and he might have been a Buddhist, but also I think he had some atheistic tendencies. But he looked off into the distance as he was dying and apparently said, oh, wow, oh, wow, oh, wow. What he saw, we don't know. But these things happen. I believe these 110%, these kind of experiences.
I agree.
Well, another thing that I put a lot of credence to is the work of Dr. Avi Loeb. He is from Harvard, an astrophysicist, and does great work. Now, of course, we know we've been talking about that object that's headed this way, the interstellar object, the Atlas. Is it 3i Atlas, I believe it is? But he's been doing some other work. This goes back to June of 2023. This is from unexplained-mysteries.com. Avi Loeb had been on an expedition to search for pieces of a potentially artificially constructed interstellar object that fell somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. And he had published an article saying that there were these mysterious metal spherules. I've looked that up 10 times how to pronounce it. Spherules with a composition Loeb claimed to be anomalous when compared to human-made alloys. Now, at the time, scientists said, these are terrestrial origin, nothing to see here, nothing to see here. Well, further testing has been done. The work is focused on something called tektites, glass-like rocks formed during a large meteor impact. Again, up until now, they said these tektites were actually from pre-existing common materials strewn across the ocean floor that were very much of this world. Well, there's been new research, and Dr. Loeb and his team determined that the existing tektites in the region were very different from the ones found in these spherules. And he said it is relatively easy to come up with speculative hypotheses regarding the origin of the Belau spherules, but our detailed analysis argues that speculations associating Belau spherules with common terrestrial materials are unsubstantiated. So in other words, doesn't prove that they're from out there, but it also says it doesn't fit what's here. So there's more room for study. So again, Dr. Loeb is shown to be very grounded in what he's doing, very scientific in what he's doing, and I applaud what he's doing, and I hope he keeps doing it.
Right. Well, it's on his website as well, and I will put that link in the show notes if you want to read the actual scientific article, and he's got all his graphs and all his, material on that site in his article about what he found and his team, what they found. So it's, it goes back again, everybody stop saying everything's so definitive. It's not. There's always room to grow and learn, and you will learn new things every day.
I'll tell
what
you,
you once thought was true is not always true.
All this talking has gotten me hungry. I want to have something to eat afterwards. Maybe we'll take a drive and go to this place.
I wish we could drive. It's a little too far for us, but there is a restaurant in Pennsylvania that is haunted because it was once a morgue. Yikes. So it's in Scranton, Pennsylvania. It's called the AV Restaurant and Lounge. Has a very, very broad, steeped in history, right? So during the 1918 influenza epidemic, the basement functioned as a morgue. Earlier from that, it was the address of R. Schoenfield's undertaker and coffin business, according to an 1879 Scranton City directory. It has also housed dry goods store as well as an Irish tavern called the Banshee Pub. Right. Well, Food Network has named this the most haunted restaurant, and people have come from near and far to see. The manager says that the staff and diners have encountered shadows, sudden chills, phantom footsteps. They see a tall man in a black overcoat who lingers silently at the bottom of the staircase before vanishing. They see a young girl in white climbing towards the third floor. They said that comes from a disturbing episode from the building's pub years when an employee emerged from the basement with what appeared to be a human bite on her shoulder.
Yikes.
So people will come and say, "Oh, is it really haunted?" And they're like, "We don't have a definitive answer, but the manager says, we were here late finishing up last minute touches and could hear what sounded like children running back and forth upstairs in the banquet room, even though no one was up there."
You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of?
What?
Remember when we were in England and we had, was it lunch at, what was it? The crypt? What was it called?
Oh, the crypt. Yeah. St. Martin's.
I think so.
No, I can't remember. St. Martin's of the Fields.
Yeah, it was something at the crypt. And we might even, we might dig out a picture and throw it up here on the video.
I'm in the wrong thing.
In post.
Too many computers.
So.
Something. So what is that? Yeah, St. Martin in the Fields, in the crypt, the cafe in the crypt. That's where we were.
Yeah.
I loved that place.
Yeah, but it was kind of freaky because people were like buried there, right? Like under the.
I think so.
Yeah. It was great. I highly recommend it.
I don't know why that didn't haunt me. I didn't feel like...
Well, I'm not saying it's haunted. I don't know if it's purported to be haunted or not, but it reminded me of that. Cafe in the Crypt. Yeah.
It didn't
and
really
I know we have personal pictures of that, so we can probably share that. If you don't see it, if it doesn't come up on the video, folks, you know that we couldn't find the pictures in time. But I'm pretty sure we have them.
No, we'll have to look up the history of that. I used to. We knew it when we were there, but that was also, how many years ago now?
6 years.
6. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, amazing.
I don't remember everything. Wow, we saw so many things. Now, York Minster, I could tell you I felt was haunted. I didn't like that. I got the creeps in there, but nothing in the crypt. I thought it was lovely. And I know they have music there and they do all kinds of stuff. But you're in the basement.
The other thing that it reminds me of is there is an urban legend that if you're on a cruise and they start offering everybody ice cream and pushing ice cream, that means they needed room to put a body in the freezer. Now, you pointed out that makes no sense because that's against like every health regulation out there.
Yeah, they can't do that.
But there was a case, I looked it up in 2023, we're not going to mention names. But,
I told you I read something not too long ago. But there was a case where a family accused a particular cruise line of putting a body in a drink cooler. Yes.
And again, this is from our friend, so there's a caveat, but apparently there was a motion for summary judgment that was denied by the judge. This is according to our friend ChatGPT, so take it what's worth. And the parties reached a confidential settlement a few days later. So I remember
reading about this when it happened because, I follow all the cruise news and stuff like that. Right. And I remember reading about this. I didn't know about the judgment because I didn't follow through, but Yeah, I read that the family was extremely upset that they had put their loved one allegedly put their loved one in a cooler.
Right. Always use that word allegedly. We don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
But one thing we don't have to be alleged about are a few things we want to tell you about. Again, that merch store, that's the picture of the hat that we're very excited about, although it's got a blue cast. Yeah, I don't know why that is.
Click somewhere else on the page.
Yeah, we'll refresh that and hopefully get that back up to where there. That's what it's supposed to look like. We're very excited about that, along with the stickers and so forth. Also, our virtual campfire group, please join it. It is absolutely free, no charge whatsoever. We have over 3,000 people, but Dar has a point she wants to make.
Oh, I'm so upset. We have way over 3,000 people in there, which I'm so thankful for. I'm so happy you all signed up, but nobody is saying anything.
Well, that's not entirely true, but we could use more participation. That is true.
We have some wonderful, wonderful participants that are so regular and they comment. But here's my point, guys. Even if you don't feel comfortable commenting or you don't feel like you have anything to say or to add, do a reaction. Just react to somebody's post. People are posting a lot of great stories. They're sharing their own personal stories. They're sharing pictures and places, haunted places they've been to. They're sharing their ideas about the show. I mean, I know last week we had about Hat Man, and there was some really interesting theories that people found about Hat Man and gave some history of it. React to these things, guys. You're part of the group. I know you don't feel comfortable all the time. I get it. Trust me, because I'm not a social media person. But just hit a reaction button, and there's so many ones you can choose from. Do a heart, do a little ghost. I don't know, but you can react to articles. So try to get more involved and show the love if you don't want to comment. But this way, it'd be nice to see that, because some of these things are so great and they're only getting maybe like 15, 20 reactions, maybe a couple comments. And we have 3,000, like almost 500 people in this group.
Yeah.
And it's like crickets. So
we'd love to
show some love.
We'd love to see more reaction from everybody.
Knew you were going to. I knew as soon as the word crickets left my mouth, I knew what was going to happen.
Never hesitate to use the big Chuck laugh.
You guys just don't know.
Yeah, she's like, why'd I get with this guy? Anyway, a Plus Club. Please join our Plus Club, jimharold.com/plus. We said that we wanted to get up to 3,000 members by Halloween, and we've got a long way to go and a little over a month to get there. We're a few hundred short. I'm starting to worry we're not going to get there. And to kind of hit the, replace the backfill of what we've lost with ads and so forth. We need more people in our Plus Club. And you can join directly through Apple Podcasts. They have a great free trial offer. If you listen with Apple Podcast, it's what I highly recommend. It's direct. You can manage it right through your Apple ID. But if you don't, and let's say you're a Spotify person, if you're a Spotify person, which is a great service, my thing is I love both services. So I can't go against one or the other because I think they both do a great job in their own way. But with Spotify, and you love Spotify, or maybe you have an Android or those kind of things, Spooky Studio Plus Direct from Supportcast, that's great, and we have a great discount deal on that. So please, jimharold.com/plus, jimharold.com/plus, or if you're an Apple Podcast, you can join from right inside the app. Please do that. That means so much. We really want to hit 3,000. We've got a little over a month to go. We're a few hundred away. It's going to be tough to make it. So join today. And thank you very much for your consideration.
Something new coming to the Plus.
So, thank you for that reminder, Ms. Harold. So anyway, we've done Campfire Remastered. That's where we, in chronological order, started with episode 1, I think back in May. And every month we put out 2 episodes. We basically take those early episodes. We edit out any ads. We use all the AI audio tech to improve the sound closer to 2025 standards, and we re-release it as a Campfire Remastered. So you can get the whole catalog at any time as it was originally released, but in addition, now every month you get access to 2 more of these remasters without the ads and audio gussied up. Well, in addition, we're going to start giving the Paranormal Podcast a similar treatment. In fact, I just edited one yesterday that'll be released in October. It's going to be the Paranormal Podcast Remastered. And at this point, we're going to leave that at 1 episode a month in terms of the remastered treatment. Still
have access to all the back.
Yes. You still have access to going back to 2005, but now you can listen to the enhanced version, and we'll release one of those every month. Of course, you'll still get 2 exclusive interviews that are not on the free feeds on our other interview shows that we do. You'll have behind the scenes, which we're going to record one probably today. And just so much more. So I hope that you'll check it out. And we thank you so much for your consideration. JimHarold.com/plus. JimHarold.com/plus. So I guess that does it for us today. Correct, Dar?
That's it.
That's it.
That was
That's
a mouthful.
all, folks. And we will. Yeah. And somebody was looking at the Paranormal Podcast and saying, "Where's Dar?"
I am not on that show.
Never.
Never
But then we
been.
had somebody watch this show and said, they're always yelling over everybody. I heard about Mr. Harold, but I'll not be tuning in anymore.
Yeah. Dar's too much.
No,
She's too loud.
he didn't say that. He didn't
No,
say
not that
They're
person,
yelling.
but somebody else did.
Well, you're always
And you know what
gonna
I
have
say to that? Yes, I am. I am too
Here's
much.
to those who wish us well, and all the rest can go to...
Thank you, Helen, my mom.
Anyway.
That was her famous quote. She gave it to me all the time.
Well, we're so glad you joined us today. Thank you.
Yes.
Stay spooky, of course. We'll talk to you next time. Have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.